Hello and welcome to Business Daily on Trust TV. I am Yusuf Akogu. Here are our top stories at this time. All right, top stories there in the world of business. Let's move quickly to see what is happening at this stock market. The stock market will reopen fully today for a physical trading. What I mean by physical trading, you're going to have more stockbrokers now coming to the trading floor of the Nigerian stock market. If you can recall, in 2020, the market was closed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So that was February 2020. So 3 years after that, the market will reopen fully today for stock trading. So we hope to get across to the broad street there to give you analysis of how that event will happen today. But quickly we'll run through the figures from the market from the last trading session. Recall there's no trading yesterday because of the public holiday to mark Workers' Day in Nigeria. So the market closed positive that Thursday, 0.32% there, with the market cap also strong there, 28.5 trillion. Of course, the volume of trade there, 472.13 million, and volume of shares of value at 4.78 billion. Of course, in the deals worth 5,569 deals there that actually exchange hands among investors on the floor there. So if you look at the gainers table, you will see the likes of Sovereign Insurance also doing great there at 10%. Of course, the stock itself gained 33 kobo rather at the close of trading. That was on Friday. So you have the Beggar Pin also gaining 7 naira 80 kobo to close at 9.86%, and of course Cadbury Nigerian PLC recording a remarkable gain there, 13 naira 50 kobo, and to close at 9.76% positive. If you recall the Cadbury, they're turning their Q1 result last about 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. So very interesting dividend they pay to their investors and shareholders there. So that is why you're seeing them recording this huge amount of gain. Quickly look at the losers. On the table today, you have, of course, the Curtis is there. Curtis, the cable manufacturing firm, down there 10%. Of course, Transcorp down also 9.2%. They correspondingly, they actually, lost 2 naira 81 kobo. White Champion Brewery also down lost 4 naira 37 kobo to close at 9.71% negative. All right. So we quickly look at what are the top trades at this time. The stock that are actually that led the top trade on Friday. Of course, we call them the market movers. These are they have the Access Bank there, of course, Fidelity Bank, and of course, United Bank for Africa. Of course, who will be surprised when the banking sector annual reports first quarter report have been very, very impressive. Record Zenith Bank turning their report last week on Friday precisely, and they recorded about 41% increase. Paying shows a huge amount of money to as dividend to your shareholders will probably attract more people to look at the way of the banking sector, and that is why we are seeing that their shares are the ones that are more traded than the rest of the stock quoted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We'll look at the other, what the equities are actually also doing in terms of their performance across various counters. Of course, you look at the banking counter there, doing strong there, 0.94%, and of course the industrial 0.01%, consumer good 2.90%, while the oil and gas is down there 0.17% in the negative, while the on the premium board is also down 0.59%, probably because some result of some of the top companies quoted on that board are not really yet in the market. So hopefully we get the like of Dangote Sugar, of course, Boa as well as the likes of MTN, Geregu Power Plant to turn in their result this week. Probably that is going to boost the performance of the NJS premium board chart there. So quickly we'll look at the Africa markets. What are they? How did they finish in the last trading session? The markets across Africa. So we look at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the JSE, down. Not down, closing positive at the last trading session before the public holiday, 0.12%. And of course, the Uganda Stock Exchange in the Eastern Africa country, down there, 0.2% in the negative territory, while the Malawi in the Central Africa also doing strong there, 0.21%. This is an impressive performance from the Malawian, from the Central Africa that are really not so popular when it comes to stock trading. But Malawi, they're doing great. We hope that more investors will actually, look the way of that market and see what they can do. So quickly, for us to get an update from the capital market, let's cross to the broad streets. I have my analyst, stockbroker and chief operating officer, Sopra Commercial Trust Limited, Charles Farkroga. He joins me via phone from Lagos. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Oh, okay, we hope to get Charles to reconnect with us so that he can give us updates on what is happening on the floor of the Nigerian stock market. Like we told you earlier, the market is reopening today for trading, full physical trading, as it were, before the COVID-19 pandemic. So now the media will be allowed access into the trading floor, and of course the live reports will actually be coming out from the trading floor. That was restricted to some very few media because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but again it took us 3 years to actually reopen the market. We hope that this new decision by the management to do that will actually yield results. I understand that Charles is back with me from Lagos. Good morning, Mr. Charles.
Good morning.
Good to hear from you after a very long time, sir.
Okay.
So I understand that the stock market will reopen today for a full physical trading. How were you people trading before this new occasion today?
Okay, I'm sure that's Yusuf voice. Yusuf.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
The markets have been opened officially for people to trade physically, to come to the trading floor, not today. Today is just the official ceremony. That has been done, I think, about 2 weeks ago. So, but today is just an official ceremony to let the public be aware that, yes, physical trading has commenced on the NGX platform. So that is the ceremony we are celebrating today. And most of our colleagues are already on the trading floor, and they are looking very bright. Yes, you ask the question, what are we doing? How are we trading before the trading floor was open? Of course, you will recall that even before COVID came, the NGX, then the Nigerian Stock Exchange, had a remote trading platform that people can trade from their offices. And most traders were using that. Some will also come to the floor. And they were developing that technology, that platform. However, when COVID struck, and the NGX, of course, being supervised by SEC, came out with the VPN, virtual private network, that people could trade anywhere from the comfort of their bedroom, anywhere in the world, using a smartphone. And that was made possible. And then most of us became so used to it. And it is difficult now to the traditional way. And that is why when the floor was made possible for people to come and trade, we have few brokers coming. So today is an official ceremony to just encourage people to come to the floor, at least, even if it's twice a week, just to come and have that physical touch.
Look at the trading counters proper. Since the beginning of last week, we've seen a huge, a remarkable improvement in terms of stock trading. A lot of, we've not really seen BS actually, coming close to the markets in the last 1 week or thereabout. Talk to us about it. What is actually happening? What is driving the market at this point?
Yes, you will recall that the markets, like any other market, is being driven by information and, of course, what is happening. There was improved liquidity. We could see some of the companies in their full year 2022. Those information were getting to the market as at when due. And you can see a lot of corporate action. This information were now the ones driving the market. And, of course, some of the numbers were good. So investors want to now position themselves to be in some of those equities. So improved liquidity, improved corporate earnings was also key. We saw so many companies announcing their results. And like I said earlier, those results were appealing to some of these investors, and most of them want to increase their stake. Plus, you also see that some have also announced their dividend payments. Some are even collecting the payment date is even today. So you can say a lot of activities is going on, and that is why we are seeing this renewed interest of investors in the equities market.
Wow, that's very impressive. They're talking about companies turning in their report. We saw Zenith Bank turning their result last week, Thursday, with a remarkable improvement, 41% rise in gross earnings to about 270 billion. That is in the Q1 rather result. But tell us about it. What do you think is attracting a lot of people to banking sector? We see them even dominating the market movers chart.
Well, even a young broker that just qualified today will always say that the banking sector these days is the toast of any investor. And we know what the role of the banking sector or financial sector generally in the economy. Once that sector sneezes, every other sector will catch a cold. So the financial sector, banking sector is key to any nation's development. That's why we are seeing more and more investors are saying, okay, this sector, these companies here have done so well in the past. They will continue to do well, and I believe in them. And you see, and they will continue to dominate the market. But at the same time, we also advise every investor: you need to invest your money to align with your own values, investment philosophy, and objective. Because two investors might have different investment philosophy. So, for you as an investor, get close to your stockbroker and understand that yes, this is the company I want to invest, because there are all the sectors, there are good companies there that you can invest your money if you want to be or want to take advantage of the Nigerian economy.
That is very, very interesting there. Let's look at Dangote and, of course, Boa Cement. They are yet to turn in their result, but they have promised their investors about 99.22 billion as dividends for 2022. What can you say about these big companies?
Well, the Dangote and the Boa Cement, they have shown to maintain that leadership quality. And we can see that in the aspect, not only in making profit or giving investors the required return, but at the same time, in their production processes, they take into consideration the environment. And that's one key thing I always ask investors to look out for. You're not just there to make this profit, naira. You're also there to see that what have they done to ensure that they maintain the quality of this planet Earth before they make that money and pay us dividends. So Dangote and of course Bua have shown that they are environmentally friendly company, all their processes. In fact, what they do to their workers, what they do to the government, are shown to be very responsible. And that is why investors will continue to rely on them. Investors will continue to believe what they say. And of course, what they are telling us now, I am not surprised, but I would just advise investors, if you can, increase your stakes in these companies.
Okay, talking about increasing your stake in this company, the shares of some of these companies are not actually, shares that ordinary man can actually buy. But at what point do you think people can actually come in and invest in these kind of big companies?
Okay, we have said the stock market, the stock market, equity market, for you to invest in it, if you have even as low as 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira, it depends. You might not have a lot of units, but you can even start with even 100 units. So if a Dangote, maybe a share price of a Dangote is about, let's say, is about 200 naira. With a 10,000 naira, at least you can buy maybe 50 units. And you begin to do it on a regular basis. Before you know what, you'll have had substantial units of that investment. So it's all about your own planning and your own interest. So I think the investor, at the same time, as you are planning, also make sure that you are talking to your stockbroker.
Very interesting there. Let's look at it. A lot of Nigerians actually think that investing in the capital market is very, very risky. What can you actually tell us? Tell them to douse this their unbelief, rather. Let me use that word.
Okay, I agree with them. Investing in the capital market, stock market, yes, is risky. Any investment is risky. Life itself is risky. As I am talking to you, careful, anything can happen. It is risky. But the mere fact that it is risky does not mean that people will not get involved in it. The most important thing, that's why I keep saying, talk to your stockbroker, assess your own investment risk, your risk appetite. Then you will now know that, yes, this is the kind of investment I want to get into. You cannot go to maybe some of the sectors that are very volatile. You can go to a sector that you believe on your own is not volatile, and you begin to invest in that sector, and you don't want to be a speculator because you cannot afford that risk. So you want to be a long-term investor. So you take your time and begin to invest gradually. Whether the market is fluctuating, is very volatile, that should not be your business as a long-term investor. What you are looking at is the fundamentals of the company. What is this company producing? What have they been paying? That is what you should be looking at. But the daily fluctuation of the price should not be of your concern. Because at the end of the day, what you are looking for is the company's performance, the company's fundamental. But however, for the other traders who can afford to speculate, yes, they can do their work very well as long as they have the knowledge of technicality. That is technical, using the technical to assess a company before they can invest.
So that's interesting there. Mr. Charles, before I let you go, last week we had 4/4. We had 4 trading days last week. Well, we'll also have the same 4 trading days this week. So what do you think will happen this week? Are we to expect another great performance by the market?
Well, looking at what is going on right now, if I look at my laptop now, I can see that the market is a little bit down, about 0.57% as at now. We have some gainers now. We have some few gainers, Heiko, NACO, Sterling, Wapik right now. Of course, things can change. That is losers. But for some of the gainers now, we have Keregu. For the losers, Keregu, Transcorp, of course, Japan. While the gainers now, we are seeing NACO, Sterling, and of course, Wapik. But these things can change, for today. The market is a little bit slow. I believe people are just coming from the May Day, and it is just about after 11 now, and of course the market will close by 2:30. But I believe that the bulls and the bears will continue to do and play at each other as more traders will join on the trading floor and then hit the engine, we'll begin to see this interaction. I believe at the end of the day, of course, it is the interaction of the bulls and the bears that will determine what will happen at the close of market when the closing gong will be sounded about 2:30. But I see a slight reduction in the market at the close of business today.
Charles Fakroha, always a delight talking with you. We appreciate your time on Business Daily today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being on your show.
Thank you very much, sir. And while we're discussing the capital market, of course, my guest walked in on the issue of fuel subsidy. Of course, I have right here with me in the studio, policy analyst Faiz M. Ali. Good morning, Mr. Faiz.
Good morning.
Yes, nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so the controversy over fuel subsidy has been on the front burner for a very long time. Now, before now, the outgoing administration rather had actually fixed June rather as the time to remove the fuel subsidy.
Right.
So now that date seems to be dragging. It's as if they want to leave it for the incoming government. What do you make of that?
I do think that the realization has hit them that the removal of the subsidy is going to be a very difficult issue. It's projected by stakeholders within the downstream sector of the oil industry that we're going to see an increase in the price of oil by almost 400%. Assuming that the subsidy removal goes ahead. And that's going to have an effect on the rest of the economy, obviously. And the administration is looking at the difficulty of ensuring that the program is run properly versus just allowing the new administration to come to their own understanding of what needs to be done for the nation's best interest.
Talking about subsidy, even some people in government have called it a commercial enterprise. It's an organized crime. Even a former minister of petroleum did say this. Do you believe in that assertion?
I think it's fair to say that the fuel subsidy as a whole is simply bad economics. And we can say that simply because when you look at the amount that has been spent subsidizing petrol in this country over the last several years, I think we're looking at a total of near 13 trillion naira having already been spent in that regard. That is money that can go into various development programs. And when you consider that even now, the administration is looking to ascertain a loan from the World Bank of some 800 million. That's going to increase our debt profile by some 0.43% over the next quarter or so, leaving our debt profile, Nigeria's debt profile, to 171 billion, if I'm not mistaken.
Dollars?
Yes, $171 billion. That is a very large difference from when the administration took over in 2015. Now, this is money that can be put into other sectors of the economy, whether that be in infrastructure or social development programs. But I do think continuing to pay the subsidy moving forward is simply bad economics, and it's not going to bode well for our economic viability moving forward.
Talking about paying subsidies being seen as a bad economist, let's look at it. In 2012, there was an attempt to remove fuel subsidy, but we actually saw the protests that actually, followed that. So do you think, most likely we're going to witness that again this time because the economy is really, really not looking good as it is?
I think the mistake that at least the current administration have been making is that they don't seem to have made much of an arrangement to cushion the effects of what the removal of fuel subsidy would bring about. There has been several attempts at social intervention programs by this government, but when you juxtapose it with the level of inflation that this country is experiencing, we haven't seen too much of improvement, specifically in the lives of lower income Nigerians across the country. What has actually happened is that we have seen the increase of unemployment up to 46% across the country. We have seen at least 133 million Nigerians now fall into multidimensional poverty. 24.2 million Nigerians are food insecure. So I don't think the social intervention programs that the government has had in place have had any effect. I also think that they've been very
Do you think there is
short-term.
this mismanagement somewhere?
There may be issues of mismanagement, but I think mostly it's down to improper planning. You're looking to catch a very small subsection of the population under a safety net. A safety net of 5,000, maybe 10,000 naira over a monthly period for 5 million Nigerians is really not going to do too much for the well-being of the country as a whole.
Well, before we go, let's look at the, in about, let's say 27 days from now, we'll have a new government in place. What do you think should be their immediate response to this subsidy issue?
As difficult as it's going to be, I suspect that the government will remove this. The government coming into place will remove the subsidy. I think that is the astute thing to do, because it is not something that we can continue to pay for over a long period in time and still expect that the Nigerian economy is going to be healthy. The question is, what safety net, what palliatives are going to be in place to cushion the effects of the removal over a long period of time? I think that is where the question lies, and that remains to be seen. It's going to be the first test of the new administration once they take over.
Policy analyst Faiz M. Ali, I must thank you for your time on Business Daily today.
Thank you very much.
And that's the size of our show. Join us tomorrow for more. I am Yusuf Akogu.